everyone, welcome back to Curious Crafts. I am your hostess Anne, and also known as Qyjari. I have apologies to make to the Minecraft people and the Phineas and Ferb people because I was schooled yesterday after the stream by my daughters, who told me that I incorrectly named these two characters during my little joke about choosing from their toy box. Apparently the one on the left there is not a creeper, it is a zombie. Which is funny because I just started playing Minecraft with my daughters, and I should know the difference since I've been killed by several of them. And the one on the right is not Candace. Candace is the older sister, of course, of Phineas and Ferb. This is Isabella. So I want to apologize now for that mistake, and let's carry on with our crafting, shall we? All right, so yesterday we left off with let me get to my camera here. We left off with the princess, the storm giant princess here. I'm just moving this camera. And I painted her up, and I went ahead and added the head from our little dollar store doll. So we don't need that anymore. I also went ahead and added another base to the second bait and tackle there. That's what they were named yesterday. And I gave a coat of the gray Mod Podge to each of the creatures, a couple coats of each, so they'd be good and ready for today. Now I wanted to show you something that I have collected over the years. Whenever I go to yard sales, or I go to flea markets or thrift stores, I go to the jewelry section and I look for things that could be used as armor or shields in this case. And I found this set of earrings, definitely from the 80s, and I thought they would make a great shield. So I know storm giants have natural armor. They do not have metal armor, but my storm giant princess is going to have a shield, and I'm going to give her some armor. And the reason why is because her current armor class, according to D&D Beyond, is 12, and that means that the Banana Brothers are going to hit quite often. So I'm going to up her AC with some armor, including a shield, which will give her a +2. And I found this. It's a necklace of some sort, or a pendant rather, on a necklace. And I removed, it's really cool looking. I removed the little disc at the top, and I thought that would make a really cool breastplate. And it just happens to fit perfectly. But first I have to give her some clothes underneath. So before we do that, let's give a coat of the color that we're going to use for each of our creatures here. And I've got the colors here. I decided to make one of the sharks a dark gray. In this case it is called pewter gray. And then this one's called English navy, like a dark navy blue. The turtle will be this limeade color, green, and wild grapes for our octopus. So let's get started painting at least the first layer of these sea creatures. This is one of my favorite parts. I love painting. I use Apple Barrel brand. They don't sponsor me, but they're very inexpensive. I get either the matte finish or the multi-surface finish. Gloss is okay for some projects, but not usually the projects that I work on. Okay, so let's do our first, let's do bait. Our viewers yesterday named our sea creatures bait and tackle. Just gonna give him an overall gray color and then highlight later. I'm going to also work on the bases today. just adding some more color to them and some sand to represent the seafloor. It'll kind of match the terrain that I've already built. I did not do that on the stream. It is a very simple process. Several pieces of terrain I've made in the past, it's similar to that. Gave it a coat of territorial beige, and then did a sponge coating of various beiges and tans. I did review it during the terrain stream. The scatter, rather. Okay. There's our gray bait. Now we'll do tackle. And tackle is going to be a navy color. I made them two different colors simply because it'll be easier on the stream playing Dungeons and Dragons with the Banana Brothers for them to say, I'd like to attack the gray one, or I want to attack the blue one. And then I can remember which one's which during initiative, etc. So like I said, I'm going to homebrew the Storm Giant Princess, so even if the Banana Brothers decide to catch this stream, either on Twitch when it's over or YouTube tomorrow, they won't be able to do too much pre-planning for the plane of water, because I will be adding and removing features of these creatures. I do that because they, three of them are veteran players and also dungeon masters, and they know the monster manuals and all the supplements pretty much inside and out. So don't want to give them any, oops, let's get a little more there. Don't want to give them too much spoilers, too many spoilers. Okay, let's do our giant octopus. I decided not to go with the crab. I had the orange one from this toy set yesterday, and I thought, well, instead of using that, I'll just use the official Reaper Mini large crab that I have. But because I'm going to homebrew these and make them more difficult, I thought maybe having these 5 creatures on the board at once would be plenty without the crab. I know I don't really need to do it underneath. It won't be seen, but I'm a completionist. Okay, just one coat. And the reason why that is sticking so well to the, here, I'll put it closer to the camera, to the figure, is because I did give it several layers of Mod Podge, which made the surface more friendly to the paint. Otherwise, as we saw yesterday painting the Mod Podge onto the sharks, it bubbled, not bubbled, but it sort of separated and made it less friendly to the paint. So and I will definitely give each of these some personality. Put eyes on them and maybe outline the shell here on the back with a separate color. I will do that off stream though, because my eyesight is poor. I need to use, for those small details, a magnifying glass and maybe my reader's fine brush. Get my head close to it. There we go. I'll post pictures when it's done. Okay, so now our helpless little, let's get this out of the way. Our helpless little storm giant princess is gonna need some clothing. And like I talked about yesterday, we're gonna use cheesecloth to make a cloak and maybe some flowing sleeves. But I also want to put some bracers on her, and like I said, I'm gonna put the breastplate on. But she needs trousers and boots, and the boots will probably be painted on, and I'll probably put some wraps around that. You can see this fire giant, something similar to that. His arms and legs have, and boots have this sort of a string wrap around. He also has this, I guess it's a skirt, kilt, a little bag in the back, and these shoulder pads, and his hair kind of covers up, his beard kind of covers up the front there. But I want to do something similar, and I am not just a mini crafter, but I also happen to work with fabric crafts and make ornaments. And so I have a lot of different kinds of leather style fabric. It's not real leather, it's fake leather. And it looks vinyl-y. Vinyl-y, is that a word? I don't think that's a word. Vinylish. But I have this green color, and I thought I'd use it on her because we talked about making her skin sort of a grayish green. So I'm going to, let me just check the camera here. It seems to be auto-focusing. I want to take that off. Usually yep, it is. I'm going to take it off. There we go. So I have this green color that I thought I'd use for the storm giant. I just like that green idea. So we'll cut a small piece of that out and start working with that. Maybe that'll be the trousers, and maybe some part of the sleeve, or the bracers rather. The fabric I use for the fire giant is here, and it's a very soft. It has like a felt lining, but I like the way it looks like an animal skin. Of course, it's not. Then I have this plain brown that I used for his shoulder pads there. And I thought maybe the tan color would be good for her. So I think I'll set aside the ones that I used for the fire giant and just stick with the green and then these two tan colors. And we cut a smaller, more manageable piece out of this one. Just something to work with on the stream. Get over there. Okay, so what should I make for her underneath her? Should it be a dress or trousers? I like trousers. I'll make her pants. So obviously I'm not going to sew these, I'm just going to glue them. Let's see. I guess I'll make them one leg at a time, and then I'll add an overshirt to it. That seems like the best bet. Well, I don't want to make it too long because her boots will come up top there, so that's better. I'll use that smaller piece. Alright, cut it there. There we go. I'll just glue that on the back like that. Maybe I'll use the darker vinyl for the boots. Bring those up over the top there. I'm giving it a stretch too because I don't want it to be too loose. She's already bulky enough. we gave her some heft. Okay. This one around there. This is just like dressing dolls, right? That's what a lot of kids do. Like, got a little too much there. Let's trim that. As I mentioned yesterday, I think instead of throwing rocks for her weapon, she's going to have a lightning staff. And I also want her to throw skulls. I think I showed you all yesterday. I found these beads at a craft store that are skulls. So I'll just put those on the base around her feet. And there's no messing with her. Okay, you know what? Let's make her boots. Let's make her boots out of the darker leather. And again, they're just going to be wraps around the base of the pants there and then around the feet. Typically I use my good sewing shears for any kind of fabric work I do, but these are working just fine. Ooh, I wonder if I could turn it over and make a cuff. I like the way that looks. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make a cuff. Just a little bit of a cuff. Nothing crazy. Okay. It's about this size each. There's no pattern here. I'm just simply attaching it with glue, stretching it around. This vinyl does stretch very well. And it's just supposed to be an indication. I'll probably just trim that right there with the knife and tuck it in. And then the sand from the ocean floor will hide that. Let me first glue down the cuff though, because it'll make it more manageable as I'm gluing it onto the figure. As you can tell, I'm just making this up as I go along. I'm just checking to see what works and what doesn't work. My usual MO. Okay, let's go ahead and attach this part. Right there. Give it a pull to attach to the back. Then I'm going to just put a bunch of glue on her feet and hold it firmly, and then cut the rest with a knife, a box cutter or an X-Acto knife. It's hard to see that dark color around there. But I'm stretching it as I go to kind of fit it around the whole side. I'll try to take some close-up shots. And actually I'm going to use my needle nose pliers to pull this because I put a lot of glue on there and I don't want to burn myself. Okay. Alright, let's see if this works. There we go. Sorry, I was off the screen there. And there's her boots with the cup on it. Looks kind of cool. You know what? I'm not going to worry about that piece there. Oh, it came off the knife. Good. Otherwise, it would have just been covered with the sand. So there's one boot. Let's do the other. That foot is kind of tucked back there. Won't be as difficult, I don't think, or I don't know, maybe it will be harder, I don't know. Let's give it a try. We'll glue down the cuff. Yeah, that's extra. A little too much there. That's alright. I'll just cut it away when I'm done. Glue that part. Okay, and then we'll just glue this one's harder to see, it's tucked way underneath there. Trying to show you and see it at my angle at the same time. Kind of stepped back a little bit. I'll cut off some of this excess and that may help it stretch better. Oops, that part came undone. It must not have tucked into that part very well. Again, I'm going to use my needle nose. The glue gun is hot. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to cut some of it away first. I think I can reach it with the scissors. And then refine it with the knife. I may have to change the blade. It may be time to change it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go grab my fine-tipped sewing shears and get in there. I'll be right back. Okay. These are great for fabric only. Like any mom would warn, don't use my sewing scissors for anything but fabric. You definitely have a nice sharp blade. I'm trying to avoid the ceramic tile as well as any glue. I don't want the dried glue gun bits to dull the scissors either. Okay, well, it's a bit of a messy job on that side, but again, it'll be covered with the sand. She's got to step back there, and so it's hiding the tips of her boots. Alright, that's going to have to be good enough for now. Let's carry on with the rest of her outfit. Alright, so we've got the green going for her trousers, and maybe we should just make that sort of the rest of her little ensemble with the breastplate in front. No, it's too dark. Let's go with a different color. Let's go with this color here. I like that better. So we'll put a tunic on her. That's what we'll do. That'll hide the tops of the trousers there. So the way I've done tunics in the past is I've essentially just cut a hole out for the head, placed it over the top of her head, and then cut it to shape as needed. And again, she's going to have on this breastplate, so that'll cover that up. So let's see. Oh, and she'll have a cape on. That's right, we're going to make a cape. I forgot about that. Using that technique I showed you yesterday with the cheesecloth. So I might just glue it like this and then cut this part out and give her that tunic. Yeah. And then the bracers can be a different color. Alright, so let's give that a glue right there. If you tuned in expecting a how-to, you might be getting a how not. How to not. But it's working out so far. It's okay so far. Let's snip that right there so that gets tucked under. I'll glue that. Again, this is such a tight spot there, I'll use my needle nose pliers to bring this up around. And it'll be covered by the cape, so that's okay. We could always paint the fabric as well. Not so much the top part, the vinyl part, but the underside to cover that white if we have to. Alright, then let's give that a bunch of glue right there. And bring that around. Tuck it under that part. She's gonna look like a nurse or a scrub. A doctor. Okay, on that side, tuck that under. Some glue. Put that in place. There we go. Looking good. She needs a belt. She needs a belt before we put the... Her head got wobbly. As you know, that's not her real head. This ninja had a different head. We put her head on there because she's a princess. Okay. So different kinds of jute string here. Let's give her a belt. Actually, let me get more slack so I can pull it taut. Oop, I took her head off. I guess I'll glue that one back on. I should have known not to do that until after I was done. Alright. Off with her head. Ooh, maybe I could make her an undead storm giant princess. And in addition to throwing skulls, she throws her own head. That would be hysterical. Horrifying, but hysterical. Okay, well, minus the fact that she has no head. There's her tunic so far. I'm gonna tuck that piece better in that, around that side. And actually, I think I'm gonna borrow from that part of the tunic to cover. Oh, that worked out great. See? It's all trial and error. I am not a professional. And I'll paint that. I'll paint that little stripe there that's showing to cover that. Okay, so now we have our belt. Let's give her some bracers out of... What did we decide? Let's use the green again since I didn't shut that knife. That's a bad crafter there. Always shut your knives. Bracers should be green. That'll coordinate. Must be coordinated. And I guess I'll use this for the shoulder pads. Something different. Oh yeah, I like the green. Can't give that a cuff because it has the darker side, but that's alright. Okay. I'm just going to put glue all around that part on her arm and stretch it tautly around. Tautly? I'm making up words here. There. A little bit of glue there to seal that area off right there. Love it. Love it. Alright, other arm. My professional. Oh, that's gonna be, it's not gonna fit up there. I didn't, oh, it's because the arm, it's a different kind of pose on that side, so I have to make that bracer shorter. No rhyme or reason, just no pattern. Just doing my own thing. Okay, again, I'll just put glue around it, trim as needed. I kind of like the V look on the back right here. Not that the back is going to get seen very much, but in case the creature gets turned around during combat or whatever. There. Okay. So our storm giant princess is coming along. She's headless at the moment. Alright, how should we attach her breastplate? It's got a hole here, and I could string something through these areas there. I think I will. That'll look cool. And that can go around her waist, maybe? Yeah. Yeah, that'll fit around her waist. Okay. So, how about in there and in there and then under the arms? I don't know. I'm making it up as I go. Well, that's gonna have to go over her shoulder, I guess. And then cross in the back. And then each through here. And then around the back to secure it. There we go. Ooh, you know what I should put on first? I should put her... I should definitely put her shoulder pads on first. And we're going to shoulder pads with this... I don't even know where I got this piece because it obviously has some sort of glue or something on it. I must have pulled it off something. Some old project, which is great because it has some dirt marks on it, and I'll definitely use that to my advantage. Okay, so let's find the dirtiest part. Cut the glue off though. Alright, there's one shoulder. I don't even know if this is going to fit. I'm just cutting. I probably should have measured first. Oh my goodness. Okay. There we go. It's too long. That has to be shortened. Okay. Just a hint of a shoulder piece. I also mentioned in my Twitter post that I need to work on a weapon for this mini, and I thought, I mean, in addition to her throwing skulls or her own head, she's going to have a staff of lightning. And so I need to create that. You know, I might just glue this on and not worry about attaching it with string. I think I've got too much string on here at this point. Ooh, I know what I could do. I could glue it on and then I could paint these black and make them look like they're rivets or something. Well, I kind of like the natural. I'll just glue it on. Let's just glue it on. That's the reverse side. That looks kind of cool, but I like the front side because it has these runic, what look like runic marks on them. It's kind of cool. Okay, now ooh, it's hot. Putting hot glue on a piece of metal heats it up. Okay, I love it. Put my string away. Unless you think I need to add the bracers, add the string around like I did to the fire giant with the string around. I don't know. Well, let's make them different. Put the string away. Pop her head back on. Alright, here's what we have so far. I still need to paint her skin and do the base. And get rid of some of these little glue bits. But so far so good. And we're going to work on her cape to cover this. Now this is going to be a little trickier. And let's get started first on that because it's going to need time to dry. Definitely won't finish today. I'm putting this little tag off because it was showing in the back. Oh, her head rolled off again. Oh. The cape is going to be made out of this cheesecloth. And what we need is, I'm going to take the string out of the plastic bag and use it. We're going to protect our mini. We're going to make this using a plastic bag. So let's cut our cape. And actually, I'm not going to cut a specific shape. I'm just going to cut a large piece of it and shape it with the Mod Podge. I'll go, oops, sorry to jiggle the camera. I will show you what I'm talking about with the wreaths I made for last week and tonight's episode of Banana Brothers using the same technique. And this is just a dollar store zombie. The little minis. In fact, now it's time to go get them. Halloween, they sell a pack of 12 of them. And I just draped cheesecloth over. And then I didn't actually use the plastic for these because I wanted it to stay on the zombie fully and not cover, and I wasn't worried about getting paint on the zombie, obviously, because he's underneath. But that's why I want to protect this, because the cape is just going to flow down the back. So that's similar to what we're going to do. We're going to put this cape on. I'll start in the center. And we're just going to drape it back like this and kind of gather it. And then when it dries, we'll be able to cut the shape we want out of it. So, you know what? Let me put a little bit of glue just for the gathering purposes at the top. Just a tiny strip of glue. And we're going to gather that loosely. Like that. And that'll be the start of at least the part of the shape. Okay, so the Mod Podge I'm going to use, because I'm not sure what color I want to paint it. I definitely wanted to have a dark tone, so I'm going to actually use the Mod Podge mix with the black paint, similar to what I did here. She is the Storm Giant Princess, so she is going to have darker lightning and thunder and clouded appearance. I also want to get, I thought I had another piece of plastic I could use to cover, but yeah, I do. Hold on one second. I'll use a larger plastic bag to kind of cover this area here. I'll just cut the bag open so it can lie flat. I just need half of it. I don't want to waste all of it. Okay. Okay, so let's get to painting. I usually wear gloves when I work with this because it's going to get very messy. You should only require one coat. but when it's done, for any parts that I miss, I'm just going to give it a touch up here and there. So for her lightning staff, I'm probably just going to, I guess I'll work on that tomorrow, because this will dry overnight and we can work on finishing this part, but then I'll have the staff to work on and the details, some of the details to put on the other sea creatures. But I have, I had an idea to put, excuse me, to use the wire. Just use a thick gauge wire to create a staff, and then it's slowly sinking down. You know, I'm just going to have to hold it with my hand. It's going to get messy. I'll turn it this way. So much easier to do it when you can hold the top. And then maybe use some sort of cotton around the wire, and then I don't know, maybe I'll use, oh, I know what I can use. A while ago I built Gizmek's Grotto, which is my gnome sort of a steampunk terrain, and for that I found thin pieces of metal, like a grate, a very thin decorative grate that could be cut with scissors, believe it or not. But that piece of metal, I think I had it in copper or silver, and I could use that to make a lightning bolt staff. And that'll be tomorrow's episode, for sure. My next series, after tomorrow, starting probably Monday, will be creating the plane of air terrain and creatures. I won't have as much time. Well, maybe, if they don't get done with the plane of water in 1 week. And that theme is going to be parkour, hopping from island to island in the air. So I think only 3 of them can fly, and some of those are only limited flight. And my hand is in the way. I'm sorry. I apologize. The camera angle is not very good. I should reset this up with a better camera angle. And that'll be a very interesting terrain. Essentially, the base will be very easy because I will just use polyfill, the stuff I use for my for creating a plushie, a stuffed animal, and just make it look like fluffy clouds on the ground below. But then the islands, or the parkour part, will be pink and purple in color. It will be something very different that I've not used those color schemes before. We did use them, of course, to make the portal to the plane of air, which I'll show you when I get to a decent stopping point, which will be soon. I don't want this cube to be too crazy, and so I think we've got enough here to shape. It's slowly sinking off the there we go. Okay, so there we go, and I'm gonna probably find a way to hold that up and let it dry just like that, and it'll be very stiff. Let me grab my handy wipe so that I can clean up quickly afterward and be able to show you the plane of air portal. I keep some hand washing wipes close by. I use them sparingly because they're hard to find nowadays. I've had this can forever. Okay, so let's get messy. There we go. I definitely see some spots that were missed right there that I can. Let's drape it around her shoulders as well. Gather it there, but then drape on the shoulders. Oh, that's gonna look so cool. Once it has a bit of a dry brushing to it. All right. Okay, that should stay. Oh, glad I got the wipes out. Okay. All right, so I'll just clean up a little bit and put her in front of the fan to dry. My other creatures here are probably already dry, and I'll give them another coat and be ready for some highlighting tomorrow. I'll probably do the highlights on the turtle and the octopus off stream, and then just work on the sharks. I think our viewers named them Bait and Tackle. Perfect. All right, well, my hands are clean enough. Here is the portal to the plane of air with that pink and purple color scheme. And I used the polyfill here with some stiffener and a little bit of glitter. It's hard to see on the camera, but there is some glitter there. Some iridescent glitter, and they just walk in, and when they go in, they'll be floating, and they'll have to parkour across the landscape and complete the plane of air challenge. But right now, they are tonight at 8 p.m. East. They will be facing more trouble in the plane of Earth, where they are currently located, and then next week they hope to be able to get to the plane of water, and that's what we're working on. So tomorrow we'll finish up the minis for the plane of water, and then next week we will start the process for the plane of air. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I try to craft as often as I can. It's not a set schedule, but I enjoy it, and I definitely like showing everybody different techniques and some silliness as we go. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye.